Okay. Hey everybody, this is Grace. And today I went to see another doctor. Yesterday I had taken some blood tests for a different doctor, and then today I went and saw my PCP. But she didn't have any appointments, but there was another doctor there that had appointments open, so I saw her. That seems to be the thing these days. They're going to find somebody. And the nurse practitioners were all booked up. So anyway, so I saw this doctor, and I've never seen her before. She's young, and anyway, saw her for this weird thing about my feet. She didn't even know what to think of it, so she made me an appointment with a referral to a dermatologist, and it's in the same building. And I had to keep asking her about a podiatrist, and finally she gave me one, but it was in the same building and they don't take my insurance. And the girls seem kind of a little bit smug. Really, we don't take that one. And I said, it's really good insurance. And I said, that's weird. I said, because it's really good insurance and it pays like 100%. And they were like, oh, it's their prejudice, really. And they shouldn't be doing that, because I asked about this, and it's called insurance discrimination. It actually is. I asked the marketplace, and I was checking out, I told them, I said, some of these places, they said they won't take anything from the marketplace. And hey, I tried to go through a broker. Oh my goodness. Oh my, never again will I ever try that. Just outside of the marketplace, and I will never do it again. It was like harassment after harassment after harassment after harassment, constant harassment. And I said, no apparently doesn't mean no to some people, like the ones that kept calling me. And anyway, So I did through that, but there's whole stories and all that, and it's really good insurance, and this is Texas. Okay, need I say more? And the one I got is really good, pays like 100%. I used to have a copay of $5, and they changed something this year, 2026, and now it's 10 for office visits. Big woo. I was paying cash before. So, and I really, if I could go back and do it all over again, yeah, there are some things with insurance, health insurance and all, I'd do differently if I could. But anyway, today I went to this doctor, and there's this weird thing with the feet, and I've mentioned so many times, and she didn't know what to think about it. And I told her I can't use topical lotions. I can't use any kind of lotions, anything. And I can't use hand sanitizer because my hands will turn really, dry and everything. Just one time using a hand sanitizer. And I think it's the alcohol. And so I told her I can't, but she said to give one a try. But anyway, I have an appointment on Monday. Today's Wednesday. And I have an appointment on Monday with the dermatologist. But I did come home because, man, it's been hurting. It's weird dry. It feels like sandpaper. And I have been making comments that my whole life I've heard white people call it flaky or scaly. And African Americans I've known call it ashy skin when it looks like that, and I think ashy is more the right word. But anyway, but I think sandpaper feels like sandpaper, and the feeling of it and the look is just white, and I'm white, and but my skin is red around it, so it's white on red on white. It just looks so weird, man. And she said, I told her I was using CeraVe, And another one that the podiatrist I had, she had, it was really expensive. It was $85 for just the tube, like a tube of toothpaste. $85. And I tried that, but I worried that that's what caused it to get worse a few weeks ago. And she said, give it a try, I said I'd spot test it. She goes, yeah, that's a good thing. Do that. But then I put some on right around on the side of the ankle, the inside of the ankle, and a little bit there. It just turned it real much redder, and then but it felt a lot better. So I wound up later on putting a little more on it, and then later on put on both feet, and around the ankles, and mainly in the front, but it's around the ankles. It's weird. It's just weird. And so hopefully Monday I'll find out. But my dad had lost his left leg from under the knee to diabetes. He was 6'7", 6'7", and built like a linebacker, real big man, real muscular, and he was flat-footed. And that flat-footed, the shoes rubbed up against where the arch would be, and he had ulcers. He was diabetic type 1 also since the childhood, juvenile diabetes they used to call it. And so he lost that leg when I was in junior high, and we had junior high, we didn't have middle school back then. And then when years later, when I was already married and been married, he went back in the hospital, and he was going to lose his other foot. And my mother wouldn't, I wasn't there, I was like 7-hour drive away, and she just never told us what really happened. He was in the hospital. I know he was supposed to have his, he had appendicitis, and he was going to have it removed. And then they told him about his foot, and she said he just lost the will to live. Now, he didn't do anything, he just she said he just passed away in his sleep, or, I don't even know if it was in his sleep or what, that was it. It was over. But he did have appendicitis, and he wasn't there because of his foot was really bad, his last leg, literally. And, so, and I told him I don't want to be like this. I don't want that to happen to me. And I remember seeing it as a child and a young adult. Ugh, it was awful. And so this weird thing with mine, I don't know. And they think that could have been a bad reaction to one of the medications. One of my doctors, the one that gave me there's 2 different specialists, and they both suggested I take that medicine. I'd taken it one time last year, one pill. So and I couldn't remember why. But this year, it was over a year ago, and I've been on so much stuff. 3 pills this year I had to get on and get off of because there were my body had bad reactions. Yeah. I have a rare health condition, and what works for other people doesn't work for me, and we never know how it's going to work for me, what it's going to do, and bad reactions. One of them actually sent me to the hospital. I was in there with pancreatitis. It was the year 2000, and I don't even know how many days. I remember coming out of there, I was all by myself. I was like, how long was I in there? And I said I was going to check and make sure, see how long I was in there. And never did, because they had me knocked out, man. Knocked out, totally knocked out. The whole time I was in there. His pancreatitis is awful. Awful, awful. But anyway, I had to go through all of this, saying all this again. But I went there and got that done, and it was pouring down rain outside, and I don't drive in the rain. I mean, I'm an extremely experienced driver. Yeah, we used to do road trips all the time, and quite often for like 20 years, Adam and I. And when we were young, and I mean, It was a lot of driving from way north in California all the way to the South Florida Keys and so many points in between, back and forth sometimes, and all this stuff. Yeah, and then driving in the rain, statistically, that's when people have more accidents anyway, rain. And, you know, people don't tend to go out when there's ice on the road or flooding or this or that, so it's usually when it's raining. And believe me, the trip there today, the road is like 40, most of it is 40 to 45 to get there, and about 15, 20 minutes. And people were, you know, the road on the side had that puddling, you know, puddling and everything on the side, on the slow lane. People would get in that lane and try to go 60. You know, there's a bunch of idiots out there. Really, they're a bunch of idiots. And really, seriously, you know, I remember I worked this guy one time, and he was a hothead. He was younger than I. He's just as smart, like, you know, one of those. He's with it. He knows best about the world and everything. And he was a nice looking guy, but nobody would be with him. Nobody would, you know, I'm talking about his girlfriend didn't have one. Nobody would want to be with him because he had a bad attitude. Really bad attitude, that he was superior to most people. And he made comments about people. Yeah, people get out there in the rain and they go slower. Duh. Period. Full stop. I'm a social and behavioral scientist. He was bad. Okay. He was just as stupid. You know, thought he was superior, but he was very inferior, if you ask me. So, anyway, usually people, when they think they're superior, they're inferior anyway. It's a superiority complex masking an inferiority complex, but really, you know, you could say they're trying to mask inferiority. Okay? So, but talking like they're not, speaking, you know, as if they are superior when they're really not. But I'm just going with my flow here. But anyway, so until Monday, hopefully this doesn't get worse. If it does, there is a hospital that I actually had liked. I went to the ER, and I'm going to go back there. And, you know, because I've already tried to do the urgent care, and then I remember that the last time I was there, well, I had remembered it before then, but I was sick with, you know, I had been sick with pneumonia. And it was after the, you know, Memorial Day weekend. I needed to be seen. I made an appointment. I couldn't make it until that Tuesday. And for that Tuesday, and in the urgent care, why urgent care, you need to make an appointment? It's dumb. It's just dumb. Make an appointment for an urgent care? And I got there early because I had another appointment in the same building for labs, for a doctor. My doctor, one of them, one of the specialists. And I got there early, and they sent me on through. But then the urgent care wouldn't. They said they were going to lunch, and then they were already down to just one provider. You know, that place is a busy place. There's hardly ever anybody in there when you get in there, though. And they needed providers. But I remember the last time I went there, they said they only do minor things. And my minor thing that I had was I had never had a bladder infection or a kidney infection. But I asked him about it, and she did the test, but it was, you know, it was weird how the person did it. I thought, what's wrong with her? Really was. And she had told me, she goes, we do minor things, not something like a UTI. We do minor. How minor is UTI testing for it? I mean, really. I've never had one, but had never had one before then. And not that I knew of. So I don't know, but I've heard it's rather common, and for me it could have been so many things. Yeah, I didn't. The results for her was so screwy, and she said, no, you just need to go see your regular doctor. And then the regular doctor asked, how many times will I need to come in? Because they had this bad thing, and I asked the nurse practitioner, this really bad thing of so many appointments. You want one thing, then you got to have an appointment for to see the initial visit. Then you have to have an appointment for the labs. Then you have, well, there they did them there, but still. And then you had to have an appointment to follow up on the labs. Never before had anybody ever say I had to follow up on labs. Never before, and I'm 60. I'll be 63 next week. So, yeah, right. Yeah, I was born yesterday, right? No. So, anyway, I said I didn't want to make this channel all about health, but might as well go with the flow, it'll go with what I've been doing. My channels are dead channels anyway, because I got sick, and I've been sick on and off since early 2023, when all of a sudden I just I gained a bunch of weight all of a sudden, and that led to one thing. But while I was there today at the doctor, the test I had yesterday, that came through the portal, and it's on my cell phone. And I mean, I'm sitting in the waiting room waiting to go in there. And I'm early there too. She actually took me early. I got there real early. She went ahead and took me, they said go back. Well, it's a text message that said to go back. But anyway, I got those test results, and I was looking at it, and that's when I got the text that says go to which room number. And I asked the front desk person. She goes, no, they're going to take you early. And I said, okay, because I was like, wow. I was expecting to wait. I think I was an hour early, because it was storming and all this stuff, and so we left early and all that. And anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, I showed her one of the tests. It was so bad. My results were so bad. But that's that congestive heart failure thing. And then the weird thing is, I always feel okay. I don't feel like anything. I don't know. The only thing I really feel besides these feet, what's going on with the feet, and is that I feel tired. But I haven't really been able to do stuff. And man, we got out, and right next to that place is a Walmart, one of those neighborhood markets. And I told Adam, since it was pouring down, raining, let's go, there. I told him before we even left, before we even knew it was going to be storming, I want to go there and just get out. The past couple of days, yesterday and today, I've been out doing stuff again, finally. For having the pneumonia, and I got that from the city doing work on the sidewalks in our neighborhood. For people with disabilities, at the end of it, they have to have a certain kind of the way the sidewalk has to be at the end, the corners, for people with, like, in wheelchairs or whatever. And they were doing all those, and plus some of them, the sidewalks were uneven because of ground shift and all. 25 years. This was a new addition, new area, new estates. When we moved in, we bought our house, and it's about time they do something. 25 years is not that long, really. But then they came back after I got over that part. I got pneumonia from it. Plus Adam had gotten some dirt and all that stuff, the concrete, the dirt, all that stuff in the air, and it was real windy. Yeah. I keep repeating myself on all these things. But like I said, my channels are dead channels because I've been sick and haven't been consistent. I've never been consistent. I started with my original channel 12 years ago. Well, it'll be 12 years in August. And I've never been able to be consistent. Life, I'm not one that's just doing videos and just focused on videos. I mean, I've been focused a lot over almost 12 years, but I have a life outside of it. And there's some people that is their life. They do videos. Whatever they have to do the videos they make. You know, that's pretty much their life. Sometimes they have a job outside of it, and you know, but it still wraps around their videos, and they make money from them. I've never made money. One time, when my channel was new before 2018, I got $100. I met the $100 mark, and I mean, my channels were small. The channels back then were small, anyway. But one thing consistent, I have several channels now. Consistent is that certain channels will only get to like 1,000, and some of them won't even get to 200. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, some of the channels I have worked on, and nothing. You know, like maybe but none of my channels are monetized. None of them. Absolutely none. They run ads because they can. They changed that, I don't know how many years ago. And none of them are monetized. I have no way of people sending me money. No way of making money on any of them. And, but they're dead channels because, you know, you get sick with pneumonia for over a month, and I had no energy to do any of that. I was so sick. You know, I could barely even walk more than, I'd say 10 to 15 feet, and I'd have to stop, catch my breath, just have to stop, lean on something, sit down, whatever it was. And to go to one room to another, it was bad. Couldn't stand in the shower. Yeah, the showers were bad. I mean, I had to. I'd get in like a minute. And I started thinking, do you realize how long a minute actually could be? Or feels a minute or two. And then I had to jump out because I was breathing so heavy. The shortness of breath was so bad. And I've read up on it and all this stuff, and it had something to do with, you know, I had another specialist. There's a reason. But finally, now I don't have any problem. Finally, I mean, it was a slow progression to get over all that, and the weight loss was something else, because one of the pills I was on made me gain weight. At first, it was a half a pound a day. By the time I got off of them, like 44 maximum days, I guess 40. Anyway, finally got off of the days that I, you know, there's so much to that, but it was making me gain 2 pounds a day, and anyways, about 25 pounds, and it's already off today. I verified at the doctor's office and at home. The one at the doctor's office was a pound more when I got home. So, but mine at home is where I've been testing it, and it's actually, I'm under what I was when all this started, when I started taking that pill. So I missed one of the pills today. Well, those I got 3 I got off of totally, but one of the pills is a Lasix generic, and I take for water. I missed that today because we were, you know, it was raining, and I was in a hurry to get, and then Adam interrupted me in the middle of all of it, and I didn't, that pill and the potassium I have to take with it, I didn't take. It was just such a, you know, a thing. We had to deal with the dogs and this and that. It was just a mess. And finally getting out the door, and I get down the road, and I forgot those pills. I have the, you know, pills in my purse, a whole bag of the pills, you know, one of those makeup bags. Never used it for makeup, but it says this contains my face. I've never used it for my face. Anyway, so I could have taken it, but I didn't. It was raining. It was doctor. It was this. It was that. It was it. You know, by the time I got home, it was too late, and I have to take them tomorrow. I don't want to take them. I want to take them 24 hours apart because the dry skin and everything. I'm not going to double up on it. You know, just my way of. I don't know that that's how I should see it. Well, actually, I do. One of my doctors said, yeah, I should see it that way. I'm one of the specialists. So, anyway, I mind my doctors. Not really. Actually, I don't like it to be thought of that way. Like we're supposed to mind the doctors. That one that stuck her finger in my face, I only saw her once. Stuck her finger in my face in 2024. And she said, I'm going to tell you what to do, and you will mind me. She wagged that finger. She's lucky I didn't bite her finger off. Okay, I wouldn't have, but then she did. Adam was with me. She pointed at him and said, you will make sure that she knows. She did twice. He and I were just total shocked, total stunned. She's a little bitty thing, like probably 75 pounds. You know, soaking wet. Like the old expression went. But, she had nerve. And she said, you got the worst insurance ever, out in the hallway, wherever all the people, it's 3 doctors there, and all of the waiting room was full. No, my insurance is really good. It just didn't do what she wanted to make money off of, and she wasn't going to make money off of me. I'm wrapping this up. Yeah, I had to wrap it up because I started coughing, but she wasn't going to make money off of me because I never went back. I wasn't. Oh my goodness. I hope she lost her license to practice in the United States, seriously. And, you know, she thought she was going to be a dictator. I'm serious. You know, because it's just teamwork, and right before, man, she was just about to say that she's the boss. And oh man. You know, patients are actually the employers of all of them. We're employing them for a service. So we're not the employees. We're not beneath the employees. We're not beneath the doctors. You know, they erect a totem pole some of these places and put the patient at not on the bottom of it, but underneath it. You know what I'm talking about? No, we are not there. We are on top always. All patients are at the top of the totem pole. I'm a social behavioral scientist. They're at the top of the totem pole, period. It's about the patient. It's not about them and their egos. Now wrapping it up.